You might just see a regular football pitch here, but now I want you to try this. Hold your nose and count to 3. There, do you see it? The pitch has now been divided into squares, or in other words, zones. I don't know why I did that. In this video, I'm going to walk through the evolution of zones and deep dive into why some managers choose to view the pitch in this way. This is a powerful method to view the game simply, and whichever team dominates these key zones are usually the team who control the outcome of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Tactics Academy. Now, to begin with, a common way to split up the pitch is into thirds. The defensive third, the midfield third, and the attacking third. This immediately makes it easier for players and teams to understand their specific roles in a different third of the pitch. And it makes it easier for managers and coaches to conceptualize what is going on. And depending on which third the ball is in, and whether your team are in possession or out of possession, will depend on what you do with it. For example, if you are on the ball in the defensive third, you may choose to build up play in this structure. As you then progress the ball into the midfield, your fullbacks might push up and your midfielder may pull wider to try and receive the ball outside of that defensive block. As you move into the attacking third, your centre backs must form a very solid rest defence, and your number 10 might be positioned between the lines, and maybe you have your wingers to hold the width. This is a horizontal view of the pitch, and it's common because it's simple and easy to understand. But this doesn't really tell you what to do when the ball goes wide or when the ball is central, because as tactics evolve, so does systems. We then start to view the pitch vertically, splitting the pitch into different channels. We now have our wide zones, we have what are called the half spaces, and we have our central zone. Now, a massive benefit of viewing the pitch in this way is that players start to develop a greater understanding of space. And this allows players to space out from each other to understand where they are on the pitch, ensuring at least one player occupies a certain vertical zone to then maintain shape and structure, but also to try and assert dominance in a specific area of the pitch. And these half space areas here are key as they are so incredibly versatile. Firstly, it causes a big problems for backlines of 4, as the fullback or the centre back cannot effectively cover both, and so a dangerous player receiving the ball in this position of the pitch can drag a centre back out from their central zone or pull a fullback in from the wide zone, ultimately leaving space out wide for the winger. And this is why so many teams opt for a back 5 now, because when coming up against these teams who like to keep possession and play positional play, it is now easier for the backline to match up against this, and it makes it imperative that they are all on the same wavelength. It is also a great position to play in a running winger, because a fullback's body position is typically always facing the winger, because that is going to be their main defensive target, because they know when they receive the ball it's going to be a 1v1 situation. And so if the ball is played like this on the blind side of a fullback, it can cause this player real problems, and even once again make the centre back step out. Also, it's just a great position to have a shot from or get an early cross into the box. Let me just stop you there. I have created a complete pitch guide, and you can download it using the link in the description. This gives you a simple framework to start viewing the pitch differently, and guys, it's absolutely free. Go and get at it. Now, not every team plays positional football, and so this has led to the emergence of the 18 zones. This structure gives players and coaches an even simpler guide to show players where they need to be at every given moment on the pitch. And this can also be adapted to teams who play more direct football. For example, teams who play long balls or like to transition quickly might decide that zones 10 and 12 are going to be where they want to put the ball, as they might know that hypothetically the opposition fullbacks are not that great in the air, and they can aim to overload that area or that zone of the pitch to then win second balls. This method also makes it easier to play the numbers game, and what I mean by that is targeting certain zones to be overloaded, or targeting certain zones where we think the opposition are weakest. But it also helps with decision making around the box, as this zone, zone 14, is regarded as one of the most dangerous zones on the pitch due to the ability to create a number of different chances and opportunities from this area. And in fact, research backs this up. Smith and Lyons discovered in a longitudinal study on World Cups from 2002 to 2014 that most goals in category A were generated from passes into zone 14, or in other words, the hole. Now, we've spoken about 3 different ways to view the pitch there. There surely can't be a 4th. Yep, there's a 4th, and it involves this man, Pep Guardiola. And this is almost a combination of the two previous methods. However, the difference being is that it maintains central and half space structure. This is called the 20 zone method. I feel like they need a better name for these. And the reason for this structure is that positional play involves dominating the center of the pitch and also has a heavy emphasis on spacing. By the way, if you want me to do a full breakdown of positional play, leave a comment. It says that there can be no more than 3 players occupying a certain horizontal zone and no more than 2 players occupying the same vertical zone. This allows for more dangerous progressive passing options. And this method of viewing the pitch leads to a typical structure of what you might see in modern day football of a 3-2-5 when you are in possession of the ball, or a 3-2-4-1. But it also preserves these key half space zones, whereby most teams who adopt this playing style often have at least one dangerous player or creative spark who loves these type of areas, such as a Cole Palmer or a Martin Odegaard, players who can utilize these spaces effectively. So as we can see, there are lots of different ways to split up the pitch, and it's clear that a lot of these methods have principles of positional play, you got that out, embedded within them. It'll be interesting to see as the game evolves what the next trend will be, and you could be one of the first to spot it by learning about the game. If you don't know already, I have opened doors to the Tactics Academy, and you can be a part of the first ever course, a 7-day football IQ accelerator designed to take your football knowledge from here to here. When you sign up, you also get instant access to a community full of like-minded people, all wanting to learn about the game, all sharing ideas. And you can be part of this journey from the start. So if you are interested in that, please do click the link down below. And guys, there is a very special offer, and I don't think you'll want to miss out. Remember to download the complete pitch guide as well. That is also in the description. Please leave a comment to what video you want to see next. And if you do find these videos helpful in any way, or you just like the sound of my voice, then hit the subscribe button, because without realizing, it helps me out immensely. Catch you on the next one, guys.